Hey,
Does size matter, Brent?
the size, one small, one extra large. Those small cups, I mean, they've definitely shrunk down to even smaller than small.
We're here. I'm here with my brother from another mother,
yeah, and
Brent Frain, host of Canadians.
I'm
PWD Allies.
That's the host from PWD Allies podcast here live on location
Yes.
at Tim Hortons, and this is extra large and that's a small.
This is the new small. It should be
That's
called micro.
micro something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Microscopic.
It had a cold shower, and it's now this size.
And if it didn't have a cold shower, it'd be this size. I mean, this is the maple leaf, right? I mean, this is supposed to be pure Canadian. I don't know. Canadian, eh?
Canadian.
Eh? I mean, you gotta get that maple leaf. Always fresh. Yeah, always fresh.
You know, if people sponsored us, I could afford a bigger coffee.
Well, yeah.
But it's because people don't sponsor us. I have to have the small coffee. And Brent actually was very kind, and so was Sonia. And they felt sorry for me, so they bought me this coffee because they felt sorry for me.
But that's all we could get is a small coffee because the government says, well, you know what, we raised the rates 5 times in 7 years.
So they said you only deserve a coffee.
Only one coffee
that's been in a cold shower.
Yeah.
Here you go.
And this one here, this was out of the cold shower, so that's why it's extra large. Oh well.
That's your Magic Mike coffee.
This is
The Magic Mike coffee.
Yeah. Hello everyone, and welcome to PWD Allies podcast. My name is Brent Frain. I'm the host. Today we have live on location Neil Matheson live here with this large coffee.
Thank you very much.
Large, large. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone. So I mean we're here and
They saw me crying in the chapel. What are the words to that song? I don't know.
I do not remember.
She's not saying anything.
She says,
She's
"No,
just
I'm
smiling.
staying out of this one."
Oh man.
Oh, but yeah, it's nice to make the voyage out here. We're actually over due for a medical appointment, so we figured, well, we're in the neighborhood. We're gonna pop over and see Neil on our journey through. It's great to make our journey over. The weather's been fairly cooperative. Today's actually the better day. Yesterday was pretty gloomy. But hey, just a little note to everybody. The election time's coming up, okay, in BC. October 19th, I really encourage PWD, and our allies out there to get out there and vote. I want you to today. Well, today's actually the first day to actually get out there and vote for advanced voting. Today, I believe on Friday and Saturday of this week, and possibly maybe even Sunday. I'm not sure, but I know for sure up to Saturday to advance voting. Next week, there's a couple more days.
Tell people that if you're not home, you can still vote while you're away and somebody in a different surrounding.
That is right, Sonia. Thank you very much for letting us know, and for our viewers to know this information. We found this out today. So we were in Langley. We made our journey out to Langley. And here's the funny part: is we were asking, well, where do we vote? I mean, like we're gonna be going out to vote, and like I don't know, where's your writing? Well, here's my ID. So they punch up my ID. Oh, you don't live out here. Nope. So they see that. Okay, well you can vote out here. What? Yeah, you can vote out here. So we voted. We actually voted in Langley, and we live in Victoria. Go figure. This is the first year they've done that, and it's so neat. So
Which is
easy.
cool. Which is
really cool. It's fast. It's easy. Done. And now the system knows that we voted. They feed it into a computer, and the computer knows right away, who you voted for. They know exactly where you live. They match all that up. So it's all done. Now we just have to wait till the election day. So I want people to get out there and vote. If you are disabled in British Columbia, I really want you to really focus on who is going to best represent you as your concerns in your constituency out of 93 ridings in British Columbia. Now, I'm not going to tell people who to vote for. It's not my. It's not
first to know.
It's not my obligation to tell you. BC Greens. Yeah, I mean, BC Greens. Here's a little lowdown, though. With all seriousness, watching the debate and listening to previous information from the candidates, and the leaders. The leaders have come out and given out their platforms, except for the BC Conservatives. They still haven't released their platform, so I don't even know where they stand with people as a person with a disability.
Yeah, but even the BC NDP, their disability platform was 3 bullet points. We already said that in the previous podcast.
Yeah,
their whole disability platform was 3 bullet points.
3,
and one of them was very specific, only for the CLBC, the
community living.
Community
BC.
living.
Yeah,
that's a very small percentage of
that much.
yeah.
Yeah, and so in the majority,
completely irrelevant.
the majority of PWD, I mean, they don't live in community living BC. They're self-sufficient in market housing, and you got maybe 8% or 10% that are living in subsidized housing, or social housing, supportive housing, whatever you want to call it. There's so many different terminologies: for profit, not for profit, but under the government umbrella housing, they call it, and that's BC housing. Here's the facts, though, everyone. The BC NDP, in their platform, unless they want to add this on as an add-on, as an extra perk, to maybe entice the voters to vote for them.
Free Timbits!
Yeah. Small coffee.
Small coffee and free Timbits.
Extra large coffee.
Cold shower coffee.
Hot shower coffee. $200 though. $200 in the BC NDP platform. But hey, guess what? Per household, you gotta wait for this. July of 2025, you gotta wait for that.
But
up to $200.
But Brent, you didn't account for shrinkage.
Shrinkage, yes.
Because it's $200 maximum. Remember, it's $200. So
$6.66 a day.
There's gonna be shrinkage, Brent. There's gonna be shrinkage.
By the time next year comes, that small coffee is gonna be that big.
It's gonna be like this.
And extra large is gonna be this big. And it's still gonna be based on household income. So guess what? Not everyone's gonna qualify for it. Why? Because the cutoff threshold for the standard of living is $23,000. So if you got a household of income, I'm sorry, you don't qualify for it. But it's only $200.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but there's more to do. Don't worry. Our government has raised the rates 5 times since we formed government. But the BC Greens said, don't worry, $2,400. If we get elected, we're going to hold whatever government comes to account, BC NDP or the BC Conservatives. So whoever gets in, the BC Greens need to hold them to account and get the rates up to $2,400. No party has actually come out and actually matched that. Here's a challenge: match it, match the $2,400, or here, better yet, I wonder if they can actually try to beat that. What do you think?
They won't beat it.
They don't think they'll beat it?
They won't beat it.
$2,400.
You know why? Because they like their pink unicorns too much, Brent.
Right.
They like pink unicorns too much. That's why.
I know.
That's why.
It's their favorite animal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It bites. It bites back.
It's the pink unicorns and the pieces of shit.
They keep on giving.
They love the pink unicorns. They love the pieces of shit in the corner.
And
it's
they
like,
multiply.
Don't touch our piece of shit. We love that piece of shit in the corner.
Those pink unicorns, they multiply too.
Yeah.
They're like tribbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the more they keep making up false policies that don't make sense, they just multiply. I mean, clawbacks. I mean, here's an opportunity for the NDP. You know, and I'm not telling people who to vote for, but BC Greens. But here's a challenge, though, right? Is that you can add on stuff as an extra add-on perk. Hey, here's an announcement during the campaign. we're going to match the BC Greens up to $2,400 for persons with disabilities and people on income assistance to lift you out of legislative poverty. People say, legislative poverty, why would a government do that?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you why a government would do that. Because back in the early 1990s on our previous podcast, we talked about this, Neil.
Yeah.
We talked about Mike Harcourt, who was the premier of
Go back and
Columbia.
watch that one. Go back and watch that one.
1991, when he came in,
Yeah.
what did he do after he just got in?
He kicked everybody off of pensions.
He took away pensions.
We used to have pensions. He
People with
said,
disabilities.
we don't need pensions.
Yeah.
You know, the MLAs and the
Yeah.
and the premiers get pensions,
Oh, they get pensions.
but you know, PWD.
Oh, no,
Like,
you don't
let's
get
not
pensions
let's
anymore.
not give pensions to them.
What would happen if seniors had their pensions? What would happen? They would be outraged.
Yeah.
The news hour would be all over it. Seniors had the pension.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, government says, no, we don't want you to have pensions anymore. It's going to be heavily income means tested. You're just going to get out there and,
Imagine if Brent. I know I keep saying about this all the time, but imagine if, like, the way it is right now. Like I've said before, like, I worked for 20 years, and you know, I qualified for pension because I was a widower. So, and it was paid into. So imagine, here I am. I've worked for 20 years. My wife worked for 16 years before she passed away.
Yeah.
And imagine if we treated the MLAs the same
With dignity and respect.
and I said to them, well, you've only worked for 20 years. That doesn't count. Like, work another 20 years and maybe we'll honor that.
Yeah.
I mean, how stupid is that?
Yeah.
Like we'll just ignore that 20 years that you worked.
Yeah, we're
and
just
like maybe
not even there.
and like maybe like work another 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And like I've said before too, the idea that
And then we'll claw it off them.
yeah, and like I said before too, the idea of the dog years, right?
Well, yeah. Every year is like 7 years for a dog's life, right? So you imagine how many years a person with disabilities has been waiting for the rate increase. Well,
Yeah.
7 years, every 7 years. So a government was in power for 16 years and 7 years. I mean, my gosh, every 7 years.
Well,
Wow.
it's not that, Brent. It's the physical toil
I know.
on the body. Is like 1 year of work is almost equivalent to 7 years.
Yeah, it's
that's my point.
Yeah, the physical and the mental anguish
Yeah.
that the government imposes on a person.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already bad enough that a person with disabilities already has to deal with their disability as a regular just way life is, right? But you get added extra stress and anxiety because the government doesn't want to keep up to their legal responsibility of taking care of their own residents who are medically assessed and designated by a practitioner who legally has to fill out the paperwork, by the way, and has signed off on it. So the government has to legally take care of their residents. They pass it off and saying, oh well, you know what? Let's get the federal government to deal with it with the Canada Disability Benefit next year. No. Why don't take care of the people this year, or even while a government's actually in power, rather than doing the blame game and saying, well, that government, they passed it on and we inherited it, and then the other government says, oh well, they were in power for 7 years. Work together, folks. Just make things better for people.
Give us another 7 years when you promise to fix it.
Yeah, another 7 more years. But elect us back in for another 4 years, and maybe then after that we'll get in government again.
And you know, as I said,
kick the can.
as I said before too, is like, if I had a green candidate in my riding,
Right.
I would vote green, but I don't have a green candidate. So this year, I'm probably going to vote independent because I don't like the idea of voting NDP. I don't like the idea of voting Conservative. And you know, this is probably one of the first elections in a long time where everything is kind of wide open. Like you know how in previous year, like you can almost go back decades.
Yeah.
Where everything's kind of written in stone, you kind of already can predict what the results are going to be. And this year, everything is really wide open.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be an interesting election.
If people kind of assume that, oh well, the Conservatives are going to win or the NDP is going to win,
The status quo.
and nobody else has a chance. I think that's fatalistic logic. So
Look what happened in 2013.
yeah, more than any other year, I think people can really think that if they're going to vote independent, maybe this is the year that an independent vote. If you can't vote for Green, maybe this is the year that an independent vote will actually count for something.
This is the first time that that the province of BC has had major amount of independent candidates.
Yeah.
I've never ever seen anything like this before. Crystal ball is things are going to be different. It's going to be a very interesting election. I want, as a disabled person, basically just telling other fellow disabled people in BC, your vote counts.
Yeah.
Your family members' votes count. Get their family out there. Get their grandparents out there. Get their fathers, their sisters, their brothers, your daughters, your practitioners, your nurses, teachers, all allies. See where I'm going with this, everyone? If we all get out there and actually say how we actually feel, your vote counts. So if you're a ally to a person with disabilities or someone in your life that it's going to be affected by a decision that's made, imagine if we could all make that change happen.
And we could really crip the vote this year.
Well, we could.
We talk about crip the vote. Well, this year it could really happen, right?
Yep.
So
Especially when the politicians always figure it out, we got this hands
yeah,
down.
yeah, and one of the very best things that I think could happen this year is for the NDP and the Conservatives to be an absolute split. Like, let's say it's like 40% plus 40%, and then maybe 20% for the. I don't think maybe Greens will get that high. I hope.
Well, I saw in the one poll though.
I hope that they will.
The one poll actually showed the NDP at 47, and it showed the BC Conservatives at 44.
Okay.
Like there was that tight gap.
But if they accidentally split, absolutely perfectly like 40-40 or 43-43. And then the BC Greens had the rest. Then
the balance of power.
Then Sonia Furstenau would be the kingmaker. They say, or in this case, the queenmaker.
The queenmaker,
yeah.
The queenmaker,
and I think that would be great.
Not the king, no.
Yeah. So let's make Sonia Furstenau queen.
Yes.
I think she deserves it.
In 2017, this is what happened. The BC Greens basically made that decision and chose to go with the NDP at the time. Minority government. A lot of things were actually. It was actually good. It started out really good. I know that this can happen again. I have a feeling it's either going to be with Sonia Furstenau, this make this happen. Sonia, definitely we need to have you in there to hold the balance of power with either the BC NDP or the Conservatives.
And I've been on record. I've been on record many times and said, the best the government has ever ran was back in 2017.
Oh yeah.
When they had that power share agreement. That was by far the best. That was by far the best that the province has ever been run.
Yep.
And
because they can hold them to account. You can't just get away with the majority.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to say this because I love John Horgan too.
Yeah.
But I felt that he, the last podcast we talked about yes men, right?
Yeah.
And I feel that when John Horgan said, I don't like this power share agreement anymore, he was probably listening to all his yes men in the corner, and he got power hungry, right?
Yeah.
And that's too bad because, like I said, I really liked that power share agreement, and I really hope it replicates again. I want to see that replicated again.
Well, absolutely. And I think what might be really interesting here too. Here's another twist with all the candidates that are running, independent candidates. If they could all form with Sonia Furstenau.
Yeah.
Imagine they could form their own little government and hold them. I think that's why it's going to be so interesting. Every PWD, if you don't want to vote for any of the top political parties, if you feel that they're just not going to suit your interests, vote independent. If for some reason that you just can't vote for the top leaders, for whatever reason, vote independent. At least vote independent.
And then it could be the band of misfit toys, like we always say.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't have a Green candidate in your area and there's nobody else to vote for, like Neil has explained, I mean, at least vote independent. Make your vote count. Don't not vote because that's what they're counting on.
Don't just pick NDP or Conservatives
just because
you think there's no other choice.
There's always a choice.
There's always a choice, and
Yeah, and I've always believed that your vote always counts because people say, well, there just hasn't been a big turnout, right? There was like small percentage turnout last election because people didn't get out there and vote because they said, who cares? The same party's going to win again anyway.
Over 20%. Of the population is people with disabilities.
Oh, I know, it's huge.
So, like we said, you could really cripple the vote.
Yeah, that number keeps growing every year, by the way.
Imagine if the full 20% came out and voted.
Yeah.
Like, we could really, really make the difference.
Yeah,
for sure.
Imagine if the Conservatives actually had something in their platform, but they don't even have a platform out. So how are you supposed to know what they stand for?
Yeah.
Imagine, especially a person with disabilities. In BC, I don't even know what their rate would be. Probably 0.
Yeah, we'll find out, I guess. But,
but that's why we need Sonia Firstno in there to hold whoever it is accountable, and no more of these just promises go out there and actually do. Like when you say you're going to do something, just do it. Just get raise the rates up. Don't do it in small little
if people say they want a big coffee, give them a big coffee. Give them something like this.
And if they want a really big coffee, then we go like this.
Then you go like this and say, see, we'll do that for you.
Just like that.
You wanted a big coffee. There's your big coffee.
And then if you want to be the queen, you go like this. You crown it at the top. You see?
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun. There we are. And that's how you crip the coffee vote.
Crip the coffee vote.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. And
this was a good impromptu episode.
Yeah, this is live on location, and hey, that's great having joined with Neil here. Thank you very much for videotaping this segment, Sonia. Greatly appreciate it.
She was just laughing at us.
She's like, just end this podcast already.
Stop talking about shrinkage.
Yeah. And I think she might have a message to people about the vote. What is it, Sonia?
Go vote.
Go vote.
Sonia says, go vote. Make your vote count, right?
Yes.
Vote independent. Vote green.
Vote green.
Vote independent. Vote green.
Vote green. Vote green. Because the NDP wants you to wait till next year.
Oh, and remember, if you're not home, there's no excuse not to vote. There's always a place to go vote. Just take your ID and they'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, we found that out today.
Yep.
And that's so quick and easy. It was done. Well, it took like not even 5 minutes. It was done.
Yeah.
And you can take a picture of I voted on your way out.
You can. Yeah, and it's right there. It's right outside the door, and just sit down, snap, done. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Bye.